Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina episode. I am so very excited because I enjoy talking about theater. I'm not somebody myself that I've done a little bit of on-stage work, but some folks will be like, Tina, it's staged reading, so it's not getting up there and learning your lines. But I think that for somebody like myself, when you hear me talk a little bit about it with one of my guests who's coming up, she is with the Lancaster Playhouse. She's the director of the upcoming production. It's going to be here in town, and I talk a little bit about that as an adult and acting, but for myself it was really helpful for me to do something like I did with a staged reading and the Garrett Players, because it helped me to learn how to act and become more comfortable in front of people. And I really believe that that's what helped me to do what I do now with being on camera, and when I get to stand up in front of people as well. But don't go anywhere, because I think if you have ever kind of thought about doing something, that is a great way by watching and seeing what Shelly has to share with that. And then also I have to talk about the upcoming Big for Lancaster Festival play that Ohio University of Lancaster artistic theater director Victor Jones is going to be, and he's going to talk about the Beauty and the Beast, and I can't wait. So don't go anywhere, folks. It's Down Home with Tina.
What makes Fairhope what it is our staff. It's always a question that we ask, why do you want to be here with us? And what they most always say is, you've touched my life this way. You know, you took care of this person, or I've seen what you've done and I want to do that. And so the staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have the director of an upcoming production, so I'm really excited to have director Shelly Riggs. And the production is called The Curious Savage.
The Curious Savage by John Patrick.
I just have to tell you, that sounds kind of interesting of a name of a production. And I'm so excited to find out a lot about you, because this is the first time that I'm interviewing you as a director, actually, because you had brought it to my attention, and I apologize, because I try to remember people as much as I can, but it's been a lot of people that I've met. So I apparently interviewed you or talked with you several years ago when you were in, because you yourself, a lot of times I do believe that when somebody does become a director of something or production or whatever it might be, that you have also yourselves been involved in acting. And in this case, you have as well.
Oh, so for many, many years.
Tell me a little bit about that, will you please?
Okay, sure. So this is my first time directing for the Lancaster Playhouse, but I have been an actor for them. I was in Three Musketeers last year, directed by P.J. Aubrey. And many years ago, I was in Godspell when they were in that little building down on Broad Street, directed by Carrie Moore. But I've been a director for 30 years. I just recently retired from the Logan Hawking Schools, where I have been a director of high school, and I've directed musicals, and I've directed plays and one acts, and I'm an actor myself. I act in Columbus
you do?
When time allows.
Right.
And now that I'm retired, there will be more time that I can spend doing that as well.
Shelly, on stage acting? Is that what it is?
And
that
I've
you
done
do
some
in
film
Columbus?
acting as well.
Film acting as well. Okay, yeah. Because I was just like, that's
Yeah,
very cool.
done a little bit of
Interesting.
everything.
What is easier, the on stage or the film?
Ooh, I think I like stage acting better. Film is just very different, and I'm trained in theater.
Yeah.
So film is smaller and shot out of order and all of those things, and I love telling the story from beginning to end, which is what you do on stage.
Yes.
And there are no mulligans. You have to just keep going. Something goes wrong, you got to keep going, and there's something really exhilarating about that too.
And you become that character, like when you are on film. I guess you become a character as well, depending on what you do, I guess, in film, because there's a lot of different things that you...
For sure.
Commercials are a little bit different than what it would be for a full-blown program or script, I guess, an actual script where you have a character. You are a character. So you said you retired. What did you retire as?
I was the director of theater at Logan Hawking Schools.
So that was your job. It wasn't just a thing that you do.
I taught theater classes and directed plays and musicals and one acts and produced all kinds of things with my students.
What do you tell those who are afraid to have that they might have stage fright? If they do want, they feel like in their heart, like, oh, I want to act. Because there are some that are just born. They're ready to get out there and just do. But what do you, and how can you share with those kids, I guess, because you've worked so many years, or adults,
kids and adults,
and is it different? Because sometimes I think adults, if you've wanted to do it for so many years, I was one of those adults. That's why I asked that way, or ask it that way, and it can be intimidating, and you have to become vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And when you get to become an adult, you kind of cut off of any want to be vulnerable.
I don't think it's that much difference between high school kids and adults, because it's so hard to be vulnerable. And when you're in high school, fitting in and all of those things. And I don't know that it changes that much as we become adults. I think we carry all of that with us.
Do you believe that it is easier to start your children out if they show any kind of interest in becoming and going into acting, to do it while they're younger, so they can kind of become more comfortable with learning lines in that process of doing
they can. I think you can start at any time. I've seen people who use a high school example. I've seen people who have been in, the children's chorus and in their church plays and all of those things and come up and come through the program. I've also seen kids who waited until they were a senior to come out for the show and knocked my socks off.
Really?
To those kids, I always say, where have you been? I think that it can be done at any time. I know stories of people that waited until they got to college and decided they wanted to try to be a theater major and were fantastic at it.
Nice.
So I think you can start at any time, because I think humans are born storytellers. And I think we just have our own ways of telling stories. Not everybody wants to be on stage to tell their stories. But you have that grandfather that loves to tell the story at Thanksgiving dinner, right? Yeah. So I think humans are just born storytellers.
I like that. I agree with you. I can't agree with you more on that. So let's talk a little bit about the Lancaster Playhouse.
Okay.
And you said you have been in a production there, and then you mentioned that it was someplace else that they used to have it. Can you share with where the location is now? Because I don't know a whole lot about Lancaster Playhouse, and we'd like to spread the news about it.
Yeah. I can't tell you when they first started, so I unfortunately don't have that, that background. I came in, after they had already started. But most recently, they have started performing in the back room at Maria's Mexican restaurant.
Very nice space.
Yeah, they have, it's a banquet hall, but it has a stage at the end. And the owner, Chico, is so generous with, with his space. And, we are able to rent that space and get in and build our sets and, create our stories, our sets, our environment there. And it's been a lovely partnership.
With all of your experience in doing what you've done in the past, what is it like working with because it's a nonprofit, considered a nonprofit, right? And that organization where you have set funds and things like that, how do you guys do it when it comes to that?
So that's the $1 million question for all nonprofit organizations, right? And essentially high school is a nonprofit organization as well. We when I was at Logan, we funded through businesses and patronage and box office and all of those. And that's the same for community theater. Yeah. So, there are board members who are soliciting advertisement for the program and, those kinds of things. And we'll sell tickets and, we put up our posters and we have our flyers and our cards and everything. And that's very, very similar to where it is at the high school level.
The actors and those who work behind the scenes, all volunteers?
All volunteers. Everyone is a volunteer. There are some companies in Columbus that do like small stipends for people, and I've worked with those companies too. But the community theaters, we're all doing it for the love of it. We're not getting paid the big bucks to do it. But again, if you want to tell stories, you tell stories.
Yeah. So let's talk about The Curious Savage and what is it about? What are people to expect?
It is not my favorite title to attach to a play that's like this, because it's so, the word savage has so many connections to it, and you're like, what is this thing?
Yeah, I grew up at the bottom of Savage Hill, so I totally get it. I was always apprehensive of saying, oh, I grew up at the bottom of Savage Hill Road. And people would be like,
we've got baggage
oh,
attached
great.
to
No,
the word,
but
and politically not a good.
No,
it's the last name of the family. The word
well, and
savage.
that's what the name of the road was after, a family. So yeah,
So it's the last name of a family, the Savage family, and it's a 1950s comedy, which at first we say, ooh, 1950s, oh, so relevant for today. It is bittersweet, it is charming, it is delightful. The characters are all so beautifully written. We had rehearsal last night, and that's something one of the actors said, is it's just written so well. The dialogue reveals character and reveals plot in such a lovely way. Nice. So Mrs. Savage has 3 stepchildren. Her husband has died, and they were his children, and they're adult grown children. And after he died, she, was the one who got the money from the family. And she started to become a philanthropist, spending her money on theaters and on sending children around the world and, all kinds of things, being generous, a generous woman. Well, the children are very, very greedy, and they don't like it. And they want the money, so they have their mother committed.
Oh.
They send her to the cloisters, where Mrs. Savage meets the other residents, who are all quirky and delightful. And the story really revolves around where did the money go, and them trying to get the money, and you'll just have to come to see it so you can find out where the money went. And the question that is asked is, who's real and who's sane? Yeah. Because these people in the residence, supposedly are not right. Yes. And they're so kind and compassionate. And, you look at the greed of the children versus the residents and Mrs. Savage navigating this world. And it's got so many beautiful lines and so many truths that you'll hear it and you'll go, yep, that's what it is.
You're like, yep, that's exactly
that's it.
right.
That's it. Yeah.
So how can folks get tickets and the dates?
Okay, this weekend coming up, we have a Friday night at 7:30 and then a Saturday matinee at 2 o'clock. And got my little cheat sheet to make sure I've got the right dates there.
We need this.
And reserved tickets can be found on online, thelancasterplayhouse.org.
Okay.
thelancasterplayhouse.org.
Anybody interested in any upcoming productions, what do you recommend them? Go to that?
Go to the website.
And look
the
for
website. The Lancaster Playhouse does workshops. They've been doing workshops. They've been doing, readings, all kinds of things. This cast is a variety of ages, so they're really trying to embrace the whole community.
Nice.
So,
nice.
yeah.
Well, thank you for being, and good luck.
Thanks
Folks,
for
check it
having
out.
me here.
If you're looking for something fun to do, check out Lancaster Playhouse. I'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Dagger Law has more than 110 years of experience in nearly every aspect of the law. When we're not just helping clients, we're helping the community. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and around town because we live and work here too. We are your neighbors, and we want to help you when you need it. When we help each other, we're stronger. Our community is stronger. Creating a strong, vibrant, healthy, and safe community is everyone's responsibility, and we take the responsibility seriously. We are local, we are trusted, we are experienced.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have A. Victor Jones. I have known him for quite some time. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny because somebody else on the show that I had talked to said that, oh, I interviewed with you on radio when I was in Chicago, Shelly Riggs.
Wow.
And I was just like, that would have been with you. Yeah, because it would have been with the Lancaster Festival.
It was, so it had to be.
I know. So I was like,
Yeah, it was
oh my
back in-
goodness, when I did
since
radio.
2010.
Yes, it may have
Or
been one
11,
of my
12,
first or
somewhere
something
in
like
there,
that. Like
yeah.
run my very first with you, yeah. But anyways, we go back for just a few years, just a few though. And I'm so excited because you are artistic director
Yes.
for theater.
Yes.
And you put on so many different productions. And generally it is those students who are going to Ohio University of Lancaster. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Typically.
Yes.
Now every now and again you might have a guest.
We do have guest artists and we have community members, especially for our summer production.
That is what we're talking about. I have been waiting for this. Victor, I don't even know how many years ago it was that I said, so when you bring in Beauty and the Beast? And I do believe that there are certain ones or other area production companies or like some of the schools, high schools and things. And what is they don't allow people to use it if they're within a same amount of time. Is that correct? Because
you're talking about licensing?
Like in the licensing
well, what's
part
interesting
of it, right?
is, yes, and I knew last year after we finished Into the Woods that I was already doing Disney's Beauty and the Beast, but I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And soon after that, they shut off all the licensing for it. So no one can do it for a couple years now because it's going on a national tour.
Oh, okay, that's why then. Okay,
Yep.
and it makes sense. So how difficult is it sometimes to get licensing?
Well, this
for
one
these?
went pretty smoothly. I was surprised because if you can afford to pay for Disney, it usually will go pretty smooth because it is an expensive license.
So not everybody can do that.
Well,
that one.
they can. Yeah, they can if they
have
raise
the
the
money.
money.
Or they
Yeah,
have the, yes.
and yeah. So we have a lot of help too. A lot of donations have come in.
good.
The federal, what is it? Foundation. What is it? Federal? No, I can't even remember right now. Fairfield County Foundation.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they're one of our big supporters of this show.
Oh, very nice. And I love Beauty and the Beast, and I was so proud of myself, folks, because before we got started, I said the Disney version came out and I was like 1991, and then I double checked. And the reason I remember that is because my nephew, my first nephew, was born in 91, and I bought him that video, VCR or VHS tape, whatever you want to call it, and opened it and played it before I wrapped it for him for Christmas that year. Because I was like, he won't know. He's so young. He's only a few months old that year. But anyways, I love that movie. I love the new version that they have, the live action version. And then now we're going to get to have it right here in our hometown on stage.
And the stage production has a few songs in it that the other versions don't have. So it's especially the end of Act 1 when the Beast sings, which is my favorite song of the whole show. But you'll have to come to see what that is.
We won't know who everybody is, but it will be coming.
We are casting shortly, yes. Casting shortly, and that's really exciting. But you do know who the guest artist is who's playing Belle's father. That's Cabot Ray, who used to work at NBC News up in Columbus.
Okay, yes. As a matter of fact, when are you, when the announcing of the cast? Because I know we do
It'll
this
be
before
next
this airs.
week.
Okay.
Next week.
So, okay, it's very exciting.
I'm
It's very
excited too.
So can we tell anybody at all that's
About
in
what?
it, who's in? Oh, but you can't announce any of it.
No,
Who's
we
all?
auditions are this weekend. So next week we will tell it. Only Cabot Ray is the announcement.
Only
the
one.
special
Okay,
guest,
that's
the
the
special
only one.
guest star
Okay.
who now lives in our area.
Are you how excited are you about this?
I'm excited.
this
The auditions, when we posted the auditions, they filled up immediately. Then we added more slots. Those filled up. So we only accepted now video auditions more for this weekend.
And this is one open to the community.
It's open
the
to the community.
entire cast
Yes.
can be. It's
Yes.
nobody that is going through the college or the university.
It's open to everyone and anyone.
That's what I
It's
thought.
a great excitement.
Oh,
It's
my goodness,
featured
of all ages.
during the Lancaster Festival on July 21st at 2 o'clock, and only one festival show this year. Usually we do a 2 o'clock and a 7 o'clock. We're only doing the 2 o'clock matinee.
Okay, and then when are you doing
The
it
following
again?
Sunday, which we've never done before,
Okay.
which is the 28th, we do a 2 o'clock,
Which
another
is right-
matinee the next Sunday.
Okay.
And then following that, we do a Thursday, Friday evening only, then a Saturday matinee and a Sunday matinee. So we have 4 matinees and only 2 evening performances.
Okay. And so, and what is making it different is because it's during the Lancaster Festival,
Yes.
and then it's the Sunday after, because
Immediately
Lancaster Festival,
after.
and right after, yeah, that
After the
next
grand
day,
finale
that's
concert
on
the next-
Saturday,
yes.
and then the next day, and then
The next Thursday through Sunday.
yes. So it is going to be really, really great. And so those folks who are auditioning, what do you do for all of the behind the scenes, I guess?
Oh, that's what's so
volunteers?
cool right
And
now.
that's what I
I've been
wanna know
planning that
about.
a long time.
Oh, you have?
Yes. One of the
Okay.
national tour sets we're renting and bringing to the Lancaster stage. It's mammoth. It's pretty exciting. And that's the sets that go around the United States with tour companies. We're bringing it to the Lancaster stage.
How many hours do you put in to set up a stage like this?
Oh, well, this is cool because it comes in only a week before in semi-trucks. Just like when someone arrives at the Lancaster Festival to do their thing.
Yes.
We need 12 people to unload it from 8 to 10 a.m. on July 8th because the trucks will only be there for 2 hours. So we have to get everything unloaded, whether we put it up or not. And then when they come to pick it up on the 5th after the show closes, we have 2 hours to get it all back in the truck. And it's huge.
So what dates did
That's
you
the
just say?
castle and
July.
everything.
When are they
That's
coming in?
July 8th.
The July 8th.
When the
and
semi-trucks
then-
arrive.
And when do they come back to get the set?
They come back on August 5th to get it.
Okay. So it's
2 hour window each time.
And you have people already lined up for that?
No.
Okay, so you need them.
We do need them. We're going to post a volunteer list to come help us unload the trucks.
So if you've got some strength and you're not afraid to lift, is that really?
You don't
what
need the strength if you have 4 or 5 people carrying something.
You're
know.
right, yeah.
But
yeah.
there are some big pieces, the castle pieces.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So
We have a live orchestra again this year. It's when you walk in, you're going to be overwhelmed with what everything looks like in the theater when you come in. You're going to say, I can't believe this is on the Wagner Theater stage.
I know you can't I'm so excited to find out who Belle is going to be.
No idea.
I know,
I'll
right?
see this
It's just
weekend.
I know. I'm like, all of it. So,
It'll be very competitive. And then the Beast, that's a tough role.
How do folks continue to follow you for when the tickets will be available? Because
You can
they
go
won't
to
be
the
able
university page. You can go to our Facebook page. All of that's available. Ohio.edu/Lancaster is where you can buy the tickets online.
Okay.
Or you can go to our Facebook page, OUL Theater, spelled the Greek way,
Yes.
THEATRE.
Yes.
You can buy tickets there for the show.
And this takes place at the Wagner Theater.
It takes place at the Wagner Theater. And not only that, the Saturday before we open, July 13th at 8 a.m., we have breakfast with Belle and friends. So we have this big breakfast, pancake breakfast. All the actors will be there in costume, and you get to take pictures with them, sign autographs, have crafts, and a tea party. Then they get to go on stage and take pictures on stage on the castle.
How many tickets are available for that?
We're capping it at 250. We did something similar to this a while ago. We did Breakfast
did.
with Cinderella.
Oh, you did.
And we had the
when you did
carriage.
the-
We had rented the carriage from the national tour, brought it on stage, and everybody got to go on, sit in the carriage, and take photos then.
What are we talking when it comes to tickets and things like
Well,
that?
that's
for kids that want
that's
to do
supporting the cost of bringing
Correct.
this set.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what's paying for it.
And that's another thing, because it's like a nonprofit. You have to, when money comes in, it
raise
goes
money.
right back out.
It sure does.
Because these are actors that are any of these actors paid?
Only Cabot.
That's what, okay.
Cabot, the professional.
Not surprised, yeah. 'cause
Right.
He's already been,
But no
yes,
one else is
okay.
paid.
all
And when the
volunteer.
set comes in, that's a huge expense to rent something that
Mm-hmm.
big. So we're setting up a fundraiser, and that's what this is. And when we did Disney's
Good.
Cinderella, I can just tell you what Cinderella cost at the time.
Sure.
I know it was $40 for the 3-hour event, which included the breakfast.
3 hours?
Yeah,
That's
because
not
you go to
bad.
breakfast and the guy
Yeah.
entertains. He throws pancakes and
Yeah,
does
yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Then after you have craft stations and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then you go in the theater. You get your picture with that. So it's really a quite a big thing, and you get to meet the cast, sign autographs, and take pictures with them. But I do know if you buy a table for 10, it's $40 off the table of 10.
Oh, okay.
So you can get a group of
actually
people
get-
together. Yeah.
And that's where? Is that
July
when it takes place?
13th.
And where?
And it starts in the gymnasium, and it's all going to be
Okay.
dressed up like a castle with pretty cool draperies all around the place. And then they go inside the theater for the other special events. So there's a lot going on with Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I imagine
And
some little youngins will probably dress up in the characters when they
course.
come.
I promise I won't.
No, that's okay. Who would
Some
you be,
adults
Mrs.
might.
Potts?
That's not funny.
Babette? Well, Mrs. Potts in the script is only 30 years old.
Babette.
But they've always cast Mrs. Potts as an older woman.
They did.
But she's only 30-something because she has Chip, her son.
Which makes complete sense.
But everybody thinks she's 50 or 60
because of the way they have her
because,
perceived as is that
Angela Lansbury played it when she was 60 or something. But she's only in her 30s.
People would be like, all of a sudden he comes up, you're so right. That is so funny.
And then Babette, who's the feather duster.
I know, that's why. When you said Babette, that made me laugh because, of course, I'm familiar with those folks who know who Babette was. They knew what my reaction was because that's hilarious. I know, he's pretty cool too. Awesome, awesome. So excited to have that come in this year. Folks, pay attention to the website and Facebook. That's where you're going to have everything.
University website and the Facebook website.
All right, so hopefully we can try to figure out and get a couple of those cast members once the cast
and tickets to the show are 18 and $20 for everybody. $20 for everybody. Shows during the school year are 18.
And get them because they may just very well go out.
I've had a lot of emails about them. So we weren't going to sell them until the Lancaster Festival tickets went on sale. But I received so many emails, when are they on sale? So we just opened it up already for Beauty and the Beast tickets.
Oh, you have?
They're available.
They're available right now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because I couldn't, there's too many emails.
Too many, yes.
When can I get them? Can I
be first? You got tired, you're just like,
nope, it's open.
It's done. You got it. Answer all your questions.
Yep.
Victor, thank you so very much for your time
thank
and
you
for
for
good luck.
me.
I'm so excited. Folks,
Thank you.
don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
I believe recovering from self is one of the bravest things that anybody can do, and it is an absolute honor to be able to witness people evolve, grow, find purpose in their lives.
The reason why I do what I do is I love helping people, and I really love to work on understanding and striving to improve the lives of the people in our community. Being in Fairfield County is having a network of people around you.
I like helping veterans, and I think I like that my job is never the same day to day. Every day brings a new set of challenges to overcome and new people to help, so it's always changing.
Community, connections, collaboration. The Fairfield County Way.
Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. And folks, I like to share positive messages and things like that with you, but I wanted to share with you today instead about a movie that I just recently watched. I will from time to time work as a substitute at a local detention center, and there are some films that I like to show to them just to help them to be inspirational, and I like to also share them with you because the kids there know that I do a lot of praying and things like that, but I don't shove it down their throats, as I will not shove something like that down your throat. So when I chose this movie that I wanted to watch with them, I explained to them that I wanted them to be open-minded when you sit down to watch something like this, because I feel like, because I pray, and this movie is about prayer, and it gets pretty deep. So some people might be like, whew, that's a lot. Well, it can be a lot for somebody who doesn't go to church on a regular basis and things like that. However, the reason I suggest it is because I feel like that we need some form of outlet, somehow, some way, to be able to share positive, or to bring positivity into your life. So I'm like, if you would be willing to watch that movie, The War Room, it is pretty awesome. It reminds me to take my prayers and let them go and give them to God and all that stuff. It just was a great reminder. So I hope that if you have the time and you would and you don't mind and you want a good positive outlet of a way to help be strategic in your life in any kind of war that you are facing in your life, then I suggest that. Thanks so much for watching this week's Down Home with Tina. I'll be back next week. God bless and good day.